the HAWE Tech Podcast.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of the HAWE Tech Podcast. My name is Ralph and I'm Senior Specialist for Sales Enablement at HAWE. Our topic today is, do you know what the differences are between the various lithium-ion cell chemistries and how they affect performance and application? For this podcast, I invited my colleague Marcus, Head of Sales Electrification. Hello Marcus, good to see you.
Hello Ralph, thanks for the invitation.
Always a pleasure, and I hope you can enlighten us with this very interesting topic, I hope.
I will try.
Well, great. Then could you first give us an overview of the most common types of lithium-ion cells?
Yeah, of course. So the most common lithium-ion chemistries are the NMC, the nickel, manganese, cobalt, and the LFP, the lithium iron phosphate. Each of them has its own characteristics and advantages. NMC cells are known for higher energy density. That means they are more compact, more lightweight, and it makes them very good for mobile application. On the other hand, LFP cells are known as more robust, more long cycle lifetime, and with an enhanced safety.
Okay. Now, let's dive a little bit more into the details and the specifics here. How do NMC and LFP cells differ in terms of weight and volume that you mentioned?
Yeah, as I said, NMCs are more compact, has a higher energy density compared to LFP. So to give you some figures, when you compare it on cell level, then you can say that the LFP is 50% more weight and double the volume compared to NMC. On the other side, the safety benefits of the LFP is a big advantage and becomes more and more important in discussion with customers. Yeah, and you can use the LFP a little bit more to the edge due to the inherent safety. So some of these disadvantages LFP can compensate.
Okay, sounds good. So how about the number of cycles and the overall lifetime of these batteries? I'm sure there's some differences there too.
Yes, of course. LFP has here a big advantage. They have usually cycle times of 4,000 to 6,000 cycles. That's really a lot. NMC have only 1,000 to 3,000 roundabout.
So half?
Yeah. But to be honest, in reality, in our application, mostly it's good enough. But you have to discuss it, and you have to look in the application and in the lifetime of the application of the machine. But normally, it's good enough.
Okay. So what about the state of charge, the SOC, and the state of health, the SOH, monitoring for these chemistries? Is there something we need to pay attention to?
Yes, of course. Both are very important for the battery. So this is important to measure them, to know them very well. And this is the task of the battery management system, which is integrated in each battery. And there's a big difference. So the performance of the battery is not only the cell or the cell chemistry, it is also depending on the BMS, the battery management system.
Okay.
The SOC, the state of charge, it's a little bit more difficult to measure it on LFP technology because the discharge curve is very flat. That means only a little change of voltage over the charge status. So you have to measure it very precise, but that's possible. And the state of health, the SOH, is really depending on, or not depending, it's important to have a good BMS which controls the SOC in a good way. And then it's normally also not a big difference between the chemistries, but it's important to have a good BMS.
Okay. lot of abbreviations there. I hope our audience can keep up because I'm about to throw another one at them. Can you explain what the C rate is and the difference between these two chemistries where C rate is concerned?
Yes, that's also a very important figure. So the C rate, that means C for capacity. There's a ratio between the current you take out or put in, so charge or discharge current in amps, compared to the size of the battery, the capacity in amps hour.
Okay.
So it's clear if you have a big battery that you can take out more current.
Yeah.
That's logic. But the rate, the ratio is important to know because it shows how performing the batteries in this certain given space. NMC cells are much better here. They have a much higher C rate, so they can deliver on the same size much more current, so more power for discharging, but also more power for charging. That means fast charging is also much better with NMC than LFP.
Okay.
But the LFP, to be honest, is normally good enough. Also here, it's good enough. When you compare it with cars, high-performing cars with supercharging possibilities, they have NMC technologies, and low-performing, so more simple cars, also from cost perspective, they have normally LFP installed.
Okay. So how do the final charging voltages compare between NMC and LFP batteries?
Yeah, you have good detailed questions. Also, here's a difference, of course. NMC cells have a higher final charging voltage, typically around 4.2 volt. LFP less, 3.65.
Okay.
That means, of course, again, the reason why you can or why you have less energy stored in an LFP battery than an NMC battery, because a low level is more or less the same for both. So the discharge, lowest
empty
level,
is empty.
Empty is empty, yeah.
There's not much difference there.
There's no difference, but you should not completely empty them because then they are damaged. They have always a certain bottom level.
Well, that brings me to the next question. So let's talk about net and gross capacity, because it sounds like you're hinting at this topic a little bit. How do these capacities differ between the two chemistries?
Yeah, that's also a good point and important to understand and to discuss it together with customers. Gross capacity, everybody's talking about gross capacity because it's nice, it's a bigger figure. But in the reality, in the application, you have to talk about the net capacity because this is a usable energy. As I said, the bottom level is more or less the same.
Yep.
NMCs have a higher voltage, but only theoretically, because in the reality you should not charge them completely full. You normally go only to 70 or 80%.
Why is that?
Because otherwise the lifetime goes really down. The aging is growing and the lifetime is going down. And then you have perhaps only not 2,000, 3,000 cycles, you have only 500.
Wow.
LFP has this problem not. So you can charge them complete and they have no extra aging due to this. So also here's a point for LFP where they can close the gap to the NMC technology a little bit.
Well, sounds good. And that's been a lot of detailed information about lithium-ion chemistries. Do you have a quick summary that wraps it all up nicely?
Yeah, it's important to understand at least these both chemistries. Yeah, there are some more, but these are the important. And there are really different in the chemistry which are important to know for your application, which make the difference in your application. You must think about it, you must discuss it. We have the knowledge. We have also both technology in our portfolio. Also, that's good to have, so we can open and fairly and discuss it with the customer and quote and give them this technology which fits to his application.
Sounds great. I couldn't have said it better as a summary. So thank you very much, Marcus, for coming today.
Yeah, thank you.
It was very interesting and a lot of abbreviations. I have to wrap my head around those, and I think our audience will too. But I thank you also for listening again. If you have any suggestions for future podcasts, then please send us an email to podcast@hawe.de. And I look forward to seeing you next time. For me, thank you very much, and goodbye. And Marcus?
Yeah, thank you, Ralph, for the time.
Goodbye.
Bye.